How do we know what we know? Sometimes we are logical in those determinations, but lots of times we reason emotionally or without much rational thought. Science models a different approach. In this short video, I'll describe the steps of the scientific method, a formal means to determine what we know. I'll begin by naming 5 basic steps that we should probably all commit to memory. First, ask a question. Then reformulate the question into a hypothesis. Then test the hypothesis. Next, come to a conclusion based on the results of the test. And finally, make the findings available, or dissemination. Think about this. Even before the first step of asking a question, there's a state of unknowing. But too often, we associate not knowing with ignorance and failure. In school, we may be penalized or even embarrassed over not knowing. But I assert that not knowing is the very essential ground for science to begin. Rather than embarrassment, not knowing could inform our interest and our curiosity. And that's the foundation of science. Back to step 1, asking a research question is based on curiosity and interest, as well as a review of the scientific literature. Let's consider an example. Say, do interruptions result in lower comprehension as we study? Now, step 2, the hypothesis, is an educated guess or prediction. It must be observable and measurable. In our example, we might hypothesize that interruptions do, in fact, lower comprehension. In step 3, that hypothesis is tested by any of a wide number of experimental designs. Now, crafting a research project to accurately evaluate the hypothesis is a major challenge in science. See your text for a review of descriptive and correlational and experimental methodologies. In our example, a test of that hypothesis might ask subjects to read several paragraphs under 2 separate conditions: an interruption condition and a non-interruption condition. Afterwards, subjects are tested for comprehension of the material and then compared. Step 4. Results are analyzed and researchers come to a conclusion about the truth or falsity of the hypothesis. In this case, whether distractions influenced comprehension. Finally, step 5, dissemination. A description of the study is made available through a variety of means, including publication in academic journals. In fact, viewing the reference index of your textbook gives a list of studies cited in your book, each of them adhering to the scientific method. A final word on critical thinking. When reading original research, always ask who wrote the article and where it was published, what are the study's findings, or the methods used to conduct the study, and has the study been replicated or repeated? That latter point's critical because it turns out that many studies have not been replicated. In fact, according to a 2016 article in Nature, quote, more than 70% of researchers have tried and failed to reproduce another scientist's experiments, and more than half failed to reproduce their own experiments, end of quote. Concerning, but scientists are working toward improvement. From that same article, suggestions for improvement include more robust experimental design, better statistics, and better mentorship. All good elements of science.